Welcome to Fight Net Radio. Lee Honish, Andrew Labouche, and Miguel Antonio Barragon, better known as Fight Fiend Mix. Just wanted to let everybody know the safety protocols for Fight Net Radio this week. First of all three of us have been tested upon arrival in each of our individual studios. We were quarantined overnight in our homes as well. We plan to stay within secure areas of our homes and retest throughout the show. Second of all, we are accompanied by two licensed corner men. We have Jacob Stitch Duran, Mike the Mechanic Bazell, and Bob Ware available to wrap and take care of our cuts during Fight Net Radio. All towels, hand wraps, and gloves will be disposed of after Fight Net Radio. Judges and the NSAC officials will be at least 6 feet away while reviewing this show. And last, ring and corners are sanitized in between each story on Fight Net Radio. With all of that said, I want to publicly say this to start the show. There is a God, and I have proof of him this week because Donald Trump has COVID. All right, I feel good. That's my segment for the show. Beyond that, we can talk boxing now. Let's start with Andrew Labouche. How was Junior's birthday?
It's not over, but we're doing good. The Raiders suck. They can't win for them, so that's already off.
Yeah, the Chargers lost heartbreakingly with a 3-touchdown lead at one point. So, yeah, great. AFC West, go teams. And you, Miguel, how's it going over at your place?
It's very quiet, actually. My folks have taken off to Tijuana, and they're going to be there for a couple of weeks. Well, my dad has been over there already. My mom just went to go see the progress, so it's just me and my doggy, and it is nice and quiet.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, while your parents are away, does that mean you'll be having wild parties?
Yes. That is absolutely, that's exactly what I intend to do. I'm going to get a bunch of beer as if I'm like 19 again and have a bunch of parties, yes.
I would probably guess more than likely you'll get laid. But, I don't want to go way out on a limb. That would be my priority goal with availability. Let's get started. Last night, Top Rank Boxing went off completely. Jose Zepeda knocked out Ivan Baranchyk in the 5th round of their junior welterweight instant classic. How do I know it's an instant classic? Because Top Rank told me to say it from their press release. From the bubble at MGM. Both men hit the canvas approximately 4 times throughout the fight. It was a brawl to end the brawls. I'm sure you loved it, Andrew, so let's start with you. You love these throwback fights.
Shit, I wish you'd have talked to me. No, it wasn't. Listen, I wasn't.
Why do I need to talk to you? If I set you up on something and you go, no.
No, don't set me up like that.
It's funnier the way I set it up.
Ivan, somebody in his corner, maybe after the first round, told him he can't take your power. Go for it. Because he comes out in the second round with no respect. He drops him, and then he comes at him even harder. But he never let up. He kept thinking his power was going to get to Zepeda at some point. Zepeda, excuse me. And it never happened. The boxer, the talent, the skills, they're the ones that finished that fight off. Zepeda's he then fell in love with his power in that second round. He thought, and he didn't fall in love with his power. Let me say this again. He thought he had him hurt worse than what he was and went for the kill and gets dropped. And then he relaxed. Went back to what got him there, what made him a professional boxer. And to me, the rest of the fight was kind of easily in Zepeda's favor the whole time. So no, I didn't think this was the greatest fight that I had ever seen, as the words of Timothy Bradley. The greatest fight he's seen live, excuse me. I didn't feel that way at all. It was a good fight. Early on, I was like, damn, I hope someone can stay on their feet tonight. That's really not like something I take away. Like, oh my God, the dude got dropped 4 times. Yeah. I I don't want to see that. I'd rather see, a good fight with two guys taking the punches and doing kind of what Zepeda did at the end there. A lot of combinations, a lot of side movement angles. He worked them beautifully when he just calmed down and let the fight come to him.
Miguel.
Well, it was certainly an entertaining fight for sure. It was sloppy. There was a lot of swinging, a lot of missing, especially from Barancyk's side. Sometimes he wouldn't land with the fist; he would land like with the palm of his glove or with like his wrist and whatnot. And there was even a few knockdowns that he hit with like his wrist or whatever. So it was entertaining. I was watching it. I was kind of flipping back and forth between the UFC card and this one, and this fight got my attention more. So I'm like, all right, cool, I'll check it out. And it was entertaining. It was pretty sloppy. You kind of got the sense that it wasn't going to go the 10 rounds, especially after that first round. It was just like, okay, this fight is not going to go the full 10. I mean, I'm surprised it even went to 5. I thought it was going to be over in a few, because there were a few times where I thought, oh shit, Zepeda's hurt, and I thought Baranchyk was going to be able to take him out. But I agree with Andrew. It looked like Baranchyk was like going in for the kill. He thought he had Zepeda out a few times, and he went for the kill, and he got tagged himself, got a little careless. I won't say a little, probably got really real careless, and he just went in there reckless, and he paid for it. And that knockdown or that knockout at the very end was a little scary, because he was down for a little bit, and I was like, oh shit. For a quick moment, things got serious and everything got quiet, and it wasn't until he sat up and he got Baranchyk on the stool where everyone's like, okay. As a matter of fact, ESPN even waited until they made sure that Baranchyk was okay before they showed the replay. But it was an entertaining fight. I don't know, but both these guys have lost to the top 2 dogs at 140, so I don't know if they have what it takes to actually beat any one of those two, because they've already lost to them. But I'm willing to watch it again. It was an entertaining fight. It's not the fight I would necessarily call the fight of the year. We still have a few good fights before the end of the year, but it's definitely a candidate. I was entertained by it. I liked it. It was good. I mean, and it was good that Zepeda got the W. I think he's a better boxer overall.
So, Andrew, so what I'm hearing from you is that this is not Gotti Ward.
No, it wasn't Gotti Ward. So yeah, no, it didn't. It didn't even go half the fight. So like I said, to me it looked like one guy who was just very reckless. The other guy was getting caught. But as soon as he calmed down, he started picking Baranchyk apart, and the knockout. Listen, this Ivan kid, he needs to find out if there's any more to his game plan than just straightforward and throwing power, because that's not going to work when he gets to the like this was a title, going for a title shot. You're not going to beat the best in the world just coming face first like that. We actually seen it twice on this night. There was actually a heavyweight fight earlier where it seemed like the guy tried the same thing and got taken out in one round. It's a little bit, you got to bring a little bit more than just balls of the walls, and even if he's got to learn how to get on the inside better. That was another thing. He wasn't mixing up his punches too much, just throwing the same 1-2 to try to get in, and you're going to get picked apart, and that's what happened. As far as moving forward, I don't know how these guys were fighting for a #1 contender. One has a loss against Josh Taylor, the other one has a loss against Jose Ramirez, but somehow put them together and they're #1 contender again. I don't know if that's just not HBO, excuse me, Top Rank, not knowing where they're going to go with their fighters, because they seem to be locked out of the PBC sweepstakes with everyone. So they're just trying to build up these guys that basically have already faced the 2 champions of the division, and both of them lost. So now I know the Zepeda fight was closer, right? It was a close decision.
Yeah.
So they can maybe work off of that. But I don't think he should get a title shot like right off. I don't think he should wait for Jose, the winner of Ramirez and Taylor, so he could get a shot. If I was Top Rank, I'd make him fight at least one more time. And, make sure it's they got a real fight here.
And so what I'm hearing from you, Miguel, the fight was a little bit better than a Taco Bell classic taco, but definitely not an in-and-out double-double.
No, a close #2, but not as good. No.
Okay. And that wraps up Top Rank Boxing. While our officials wipe down the ring ropes and our microphones in between in between each story, let's turn now to the PBC. Fox and the PBC put on a fight card on both Wednesday and Saturday, chock full of nobodies, spectacularly. I'll start with you, Andrew. Did you even know it was on?
No, I don't watch the PBC, and you're skipping Gabriel Flores on the top rank card, the undefeated kid from Stockton. He
We're
pulled out
wiping
another
down the
decision
ropes. I
victory.
needed a filler story. I understand. I'm with you.
Yeah, I don't watch the PBC. I don't watch the PBC. They fight their own fighters, and I'm not into that anymore. Got to reach out if you want to be someone. I'm glad Al Heyman pays him good. Damn, we fumbled the ball again, and that's a wrap.
There we go. Now we've got Andrew's full attention back. Everything's better.
It's Derek Carr. He's cussing. I tell you, like God.
I turn now to you, Miguel Antonio Barragan at Fight Fiend Migs, available on Instagram and YouTube. Did you manage to capture any of the PBC cards?
Just the one on last night, Saturday. I was catching the bits and pieces of the main event. I did catch some of the undercard bouts. Nothing spectacular, nothing to write home about. The main event was sort of entertaining. I didn't really catch all of it, as I mentioned. I was kind of flipping through some of the top rank card and the UFC card in this one, and of course this PBC card last night was the least interesting of all three. So I wasn't really paying too much attention, but ultimately I did see that Magsayo got the split decision victory over Hermosillo, who Magsayo is with Freddie Roach. So of course Freddie Roach has another, I believe he's a Filipino or Filipino descent boxer. So yeah, I mean it wasn't too entertaining, and it didn't catch my attention. But it was a fight. I don't want to be right off the bat. To be honest, I don't even know what weight division it was. But yeah, I mean I barely paid attention to that card.
So what I'm hearing from you, Andrew, is fuck the PBC, period. And what I'm hearing from you, Miguel, is mostly fuck the PBC.
Mostly, yeah.
Did we give time to all the PBC fans out there? By the way, big shout out to Deontay Wilder, who's still silent on social media. Yay him. He's only got a fight coming up in about a month, based on the math. Does anybody actually think that fight's going to happen?
Who's the fight?
What kid?
What fight?
Andrew. Deontay Wilder versus Tyson Fury. Isn't that a November or December bout?
Supposedly December.
I think it's off again.
I think they're starting. Yeah, the last I remember, it's going to be off again. But I think they're going to push it back to 2021. I don't think it's happening by the end of the year.
All right. Well, with all of that said, while they're cleaning down the microphones and the ring ropes in between rounds, we'll switch back to Top Rank. Gabe Flores took on the Polish Fudge Packer. Isn't that his nickname? The Polish Fudge Packer?
We'll go with that.
Sure, why not? Ryan kills Skiskis. All right, I start with you, Andrew. What did you learn about Gabe Flores Jr.?
He might have to break away from his dad soon, or bring someone else in, a trainer. He hasn't grown in his career, style-wise. He doesn't have that much power. What is he now? 19-6. He's not putting guys away. He's not hurting them. His defense is, he's got the Floyd Mayweather style without the Floyd Mayweather defense. So that's going to hurt him as he gets up in the rankings here. I wasn't too impressed. Glad that he went the rounds, but just not that impressed with his power right now. I don't know how his future is gonna play out here if they don't seem to be able to sit down on punches and get people out of there. So yeah, not too impressed. He is undefeated. So we'll see where it goes from there. What I'm more concerned about is, and I'll throw the fight back to you, Miguel, you go over Flores if you want. But what I'm more concerned about is, where the fuck's Andre Ward at? Now, I think they're missing Andre Ward big time in the
You got to
commentating
listen to
side.
the beginning cards to really see how much they miss him. They're so drained of announcers. I don't know who was doing the under card. It was a woman and a guy.
It's always those two, but forget about them. We're talking about the main card here. We're talking about the main events. You know, when you're supposed to have Lampley behind the
his
damn
band of Incredibles. Yeah, look, allegedly Captain Cokehead and his band of.
Kriegel wasn't able to bring his little mirror because he wasn't from his home. You know, he was actually at the bubble, so he wasn't able to bring his little compact mirror for his lines of coke in between the segments.
Well, admittedly, and that probably is what made him even grumpier.
Timothy Bradley, he's starting to pick up this like fake laugh to get out of every question they ask him. Like he'll answer it with some bullshit, answer, then goes, ha, 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 ha. It's like it's the fakest thing ever. It's like, dude, you don't laugh like that. He's got to stop doing that. He's got to study more. You can't say things like, what the one guy does good, the other guy doesn't. You just can't. Or if they ask you about the division, you can't just say, there's a bunch of guys in the lightweight division that can make some noise. You know what I mean? Ha, 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 ha. No, that's not an answer. You're supposed to be an expert at this shit. Asuna, is that the other guy's name? What's the guy that sits? Yeah.
It's Bernard. It's Bernard.
Last night, he said it was the most anticipated fight of the summer. That's what he called Baranchyk and Zepeda. When did that happen? And then he told Timothy Bradley
per the press
when
release,
they were knocking each
I
other
don't want to
down.
get into a big debate, but
No. Wait a minute. No, wait a minute. He goes, "Hey, watch this. When the two were knocking each other down, he goes, "We got all the 40s, not the ones you drink."
Yeah, I heard that one.
Yes.
Hey, how long until he's? Hey, does Fox? I mean, not Fox. Who is it? Disney? Who's gonna sit his ass down and say he can't say that on American television, especially right now? Especially like, oh my God, if that was a white man. Hey, Lee, we got all the 40s. Not the one Miguel drinks, though. You know what I mean? Hey.
Exactly. It's like everybody's got the Coronas, not the one that you drink, Migs. Like, oh, all right.
Yeah. Don't worry, we've got plenty of white ignorance to talk about today during our therapy session. So what I'm hearing from you, Andrew, is that this is not going to be the most memorable product out of Stockton, California. With Gabe Flores Jr.
No. We'll see. He's got to get a better defensively if he wants to keep the hands down, do the shoulder roll. Like, you want to be Floyd Mayweather, you got to have Floyd Mayweather's defense. So, and he got rocked in round one. Don't know how bad it was, but he stumbled in round one.
It wasn't too bad. Like I rewatched it, and at first I thought the ropes held him up, but when I rewound it, it looks like he did regain his balance before he got to the ropes. So it kind of looked like part of it was him being off balance, and part was the punch. So he did kind of get his bell rung a little bit, nothing too much, but that's what we did learn. He can take a punch, right? It kind of sucks for him, but of all the 135 pounders, the young cats, the Teofimos and the Garcias and Devin and Tank, he's the one they talk about the least, probably because of that knockout. The knockouts that he has compared to his record, everyone else is taking people out and he isn't. So it kind of sucks for him that amongst all the young, hot, prospect lightweights, he's the one that everyone talks about the least. But they did mention that he was training with Andre Ward. So I mean, I guess Andre Ward is up there doing whatever it is he's doing, not being. I want to say, I don't know if it was Osuna or Bradley that said that testosterone, Joe Testosterone, and Andre Ward are going to be back next week or the week after for the Teofimo and Lomachenko fight, but they're kind of MIA right now.
With all of that, I'd like to.
I heard that about Ward.
What about Ward?
I heard that about Ward. I heard that about him being in the corner, so I looked for him. He's not there. So that's cool that he goes to the gym and gives pointers, but what I think Flores needs is that guy that's in the corner that can see things, that can guide him. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just saying there's been no growth in his fights where he's not putting guys out that he should. it might be time to at least have your dad look for somebody. You know what I mean? Don't kick him out totally, but they got to bring someone in during the fight that can actually talk to Gabe and see what they are missing, because this might not be just a pads thing or a sparring thing. This could be something that's actually in the fight that they're missing too.
I want to process those feelings a little bit more, Andrew. I want to expand upon that. What I
Yeah,
think
you sound
both
like
of you,
ESPN. That's what you sound. You sound like
I
ESPN right now.
I
They
think we should
they were
expand
like
on
mad because
so
people weren't crying.
I understand. So let's expand and process this. What, and I say this to all the Gabe Flores fans. Well, actually, the city of Stockton. And since we actually have listeners in the city of Stockton, I think you should prepare yourself for this. This kid's not going to change until he loses. And then he fires his dad, like all fighters do in that situation, and then hire probably, I don't know, somebody in Oxnard. Take your pick. They're all out there. So I'll start with you, Miguel. I'd really like you to search your feelings and give me your feedback on the future of Gabe Flores.
Well, let me try to dig deep here. If he doesn't make some changes pretty quick, he's going to be basically in the same spot next year. We won't be talking about him the way we're going to be talking about everyone else in the 135-pound division. So some changes need to happen for the better. I don't expect him to overnight develop one-punch knockout power to get more KOs, but he needs to start finishing some people. He's winning. You know, he's got a bunch of unanimous decisions on his record, which is great, but it isn't anything spectacular, anything that we would expect from a young cat that's coming up, especially in an already stacked lightweight division. If he doesn't make any changes now, corner-wise, he'll be in the exact same spot this time next year.
Andrew, as someone from Northern California, with friends, with family in Stockton, California, will we just be stuck with the Diaz brothers as the most valuable product of Stockton, California?
I don't know. They don't even have a mural in Stockton anymore, so I don't even know what they're worth. Yeah, they just painted over it. It was all big news.
Oh.
Someone bought the building and painted over them.
Oh,
Look, their car's running.
Stockton just sounds sad the more you talk about it. As you watch the Raiders.
Stockton is sad. The hell?
Andrew, let's explore your sad feelings.
What was a great start is now 2-2.
All right, let's expand upon those feelings. Andrew, do you feel like the Raiders are pounding on your penis with a hammer?
You sound like Kruger though. Kruger literally asked Zepeda after the fight, "You doubted yourself, didn't you?" That was the funniest shit too. Like, I just out of nowhere, then Timothy Bradley after the fight was like, "He's a better fighter now because he doesn't doubt himself." Like, oh my god, the guy is fucking. What did he have? 32 wins, 26 knockouts, but yeah, he doubts himself. All right.
Andrew, as a reporter, do you doubt yourself?
Yes.
Do you? Nobody's taken us off the air in quite some time, Andrew. And we have been fired from the internet. I just want to share that. Okay, that's a little exposure from me, a little bit of qualifying so you know where I'm coming from, Andrew. I turn to you, Miguel. Do you feel comfortable as a reporter in this format?
Oh, you best believe it.
Fantastic. You know what? I like that positive attitude. Let's keep it going, because here's how you know Fight News no longer has flat top. The second headline is 8 knockdowns, Fight of the Year photos. Flat top is literally spinning in his grave at this moment. There's no way this would have gone up ever on Fight News. Just wanted to share that. Let's move forward with our day, shall we, gentlemen? I mean, let's role play a little, shall we? We're going to role play while they clean our microphones and keep us in the bubble, all prepared, right? Let's start off.
Hey, you see how the clean suits have left us? The spray bottle is left. Now it's just like a guy with the fucking napkin. It doesn't look professional at all when they wipe down the ring anymore. They took it a lot more serious a few months ago.
I'm sure a lot of people don't know this, but the reason all three of us are in separate locations spread all over the place, we are thousands of miles apart, is not geographically that's because where our families are in our lives. No. It's for the Fight Net Radio fans, and you should embrace that, Andrew. We're doing this for the fans. If we stay separated, we can continue to bring the high-level product for everybody out there because we are responsible here at Fight Net Radio, even though the president isn't. With that said, Jason Maloney, in a way, is human and beatable. This goes out to our executive producer and show reviewer, Sam Navajero. WBO number 1, WBA number 3, IBF number 4, WBC number 5, bantamweight. Jason, I really, really want to be the smooth one. Maloney says he will clearly defeat Naoya Monster Inoue on October 31st after Inoue was exposed by Nonito Donaire in his last recent bouts. Quote, after Inoue's last fight against Nonito Donaire, where he was extended. Do you really want to know what that sounds like to me? Never mind. It was shown he is beatable. I have always felt that. All right, let's put it together the way I like it. I always felt that where he was extended. Thank you. Thank you. I'll be here all week. Tip the waitresses, try the veal. A lot of people thought he was going to walk through Donaire, but I always thought that he wouldn't be the case. Donaire is obviously a great fighter and has achieved a lot. I thought it would be one of those fights. Donaire had plenty of good moments during that fight. He hurt Inoue a couple of times. He definitely showed that Inoue is human and that he is beatable. That gives me confidence because I have done sparring with Donaire in the past and done very well. I sparred with him on 2 occasions in Las Vegas going back 2 years ago. It was 36-year-old Donaire that boxed Inoue. The fight was close. I plan on pushing Inoue even harder. All right, let's talk about this because this is a grown man whistling in the dark, and let's talk about therapy that Jason Maloney needs before he goes into this fight. I start with you, Andrew. What round do you think that Naoya Inoue is going to knock out this mindless fool?
I'm going to say it won't go 6 rounds.
All right. So we're setting the line at 6 rounds. Andrew, do you think that Jason Maloney will be the one to hurt the monster?
No.
And with that, all of Australia felt slightly sad for a moment, Andrew. Do you hear it? It's a collective sigh. Oh. What about you, Miguel Antonio Barragan? Do you believe that Jason Maloney is going to show that Naoya Inoue, I just like saying it because I know how to pronounce it correctly, unlike the Spanish and Hispanic names that I butcher daily. Naoya Inoue is human and or beatable.
Yeah, I definitely think that Inoue is beatable. I don't know if it's Maloney that's going to be able to do it. 18 KOs out of 21. He's able. I'm talking about Jason Maloney here. I do think he's going to be able to land on Inoue. I don't think he's going to be able to hurt him. I don't think he's going to be able to knock him down. I don't think he's going to be able to end the monster's streak. I'll give it 7 rounds, and Inoue comes away with the victory, I'd say.
All right. With all of that said, shout out to Mitcham, Australia. There's a little fun fact for you. It's where he was born. Cool. Glad I could help out. That's about all the time I'm going to give to Jason, the smooth one, Maloney, because we'll never hear from him again after he gets knocked out. All right, let's move forward.
Oh, is that fight? Hey, wait a minute. Is that fight on DAZN? Is it on?
No, I believe it's.
It should be ESPN Plus.
Yeah, it's ESPN Plus.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Halloween night, a reason to stay in.
Navarrete is fighting on Saturday. That's why I was like, what? They're having 2 fights? I didn't know what was going on.
What kind of psycho would let? By the way, since we'll all be home on Halloween anyway, what kind of psycho is going to let their child go out and trick or treat on Halloween? Like, what kind of white trash Florida, I'm smoking crack and meth twice a day while shooting heroin. Rottweiler owner, white family would actually take, and I guarantee it's going to be white families, would take their child out on Halloween night. Like, that's some crazy ass shit. Andrew, I know your household will not leave and probably turn off all the lights to keep other people away because you keep a strict COVID lockdown. But how many outbreaks do you think we get on Halloween from dumbass white people?
Jesus. I have no idea. Hopefully not a lot, Lee.
I love doing white-ass people jokes because Andrew gets so quiet because he has to go to work tomorrow. Loma versus Lopez 24/7 hit the airways in anticipation of the October 17th. That's just 2 short weeks away. Unification showdown between WBC, franchise, WBO, PDRSQ, and all-around rim job master that Bob likes to get his mouth up and onto. Vasily Lomachenko takes on IBF kingpin Teofimo Lopez on ESPN in what is being described as a blood feud. Have either of you had a chance to watch any of the 24/7s that are up, that are only available on ESPN? Which technically I don't know how HBO is allowing them to call 24/7, but let's not get into copyright issues. They talked about it ad nauseum last night. Andrew, as we build up, do you see this as a blood feud between the two?
There's been some back and forth, yeah. So you could say there's it might be a little bit of a bad blood between the two fighters. Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, whatchamacallit, Lomachenko did come out and basically ask who Lopez was in the beginning of all this. Didn't even consider him a legit contender. So you can see Lopez getting a little mad about that.
Are we sure that's what he actually said? Because all the stuff I watched the other night on ESPN, yes, Lomachenko was talking, but what are the odds Bob is just typing in actual responses that he wanted on the screen? He could have been saying, yes, my house is green. I live with a brown car. I like to mow the grass. I think this will be a wonderful fight and a chance for 2 sportsmen to get together and box like true champions. Instead, Bob typed what we saw last night. What do you think about that, Andrew? Is that a possibility?
I don't know. No, actually seen.
I'm really trying, Andrew. You feel flat.
It's in it. It's in.
You feel flat.
Yeah, you are. I can see it. I can see.
No, I'm not. I'm certainly not flat. I feel that you're flat because I'm going to have to go to the A material next, and I have A material stories to get you fired up. Miguel Antonio Barragan, do you feel that this is a blood feud between the two?
I feel it's more from Teofimo's side, really. I kind of feel like, he's a young guy, so I think he's a little bit more impressionable, and any sort of shit talk might get him kind of riled up. And I don't think it's really affecting Lomachenko much. Lomachenko's more stoic, so I don't think anything that Teofimo has said so far has gone under Lomachenko's skin at all. Like, he's just like what Andrew was saying. Like, I think at the very beginning, Lomachenko was like, "Who am I fighting? Okay, So Teofimo's like, "Okay, no, fuck this." So Teofimo's got like a little bit more of that Latino hot blood going. So he's like, "What the fuck?" But to be honest, it's really more so from Teofimo's side. I don't really feel like Lomachenko's even fucking batting an eye, honestly. So I don't think there's going to be anything. If there's, I'm sure there's going to be some sort of face-to-face at the weigh-in or any sort of press conference. They might be with their masks or whatever. But face-to-face, I anticipate Teofimo being the hot-headed one, and Lomachenko kind of being like, "All right, whatever, we'll get it on tomorrow and we'll see how it goes."
Well, there you go. That covers that story. Moving forward, let's move to Mike Coppinger of the LA Times, and now I am convinced Dick Sucker of the PBC. He released via Twitter sources. First of all, I want him to produce the source. This is the first time, and I actually like Mike Coppinger.
They never do.
I like him. I need him to release his source this time. He says, sources, Showtime's pay-per-view doubleheader featuring the Charlo twins is expected to generate more than 100,000 buys. with a chance to top out at 120,000 pay-per-view buys for the debut of Jermall and Jermell as they went up against, you ready, the NBA Conference Finals and UFC 253. I've never thought this about Mike. I've met him. I actually like his writing, generally speaking. My first question to Mike Coppinger is, number one, how much are you getting paid by the PBC? Number two, clearly you provide fellatio for Al Heyman in your spare time. And number three, you clearly bend over for Al to finish. There is no fucking way betting my daughter's college money that in true reality, this did anywhere close to 100,000 buys. There aren't 100,000 delusional people crazy enough to hit the buy button on $80 during a pandemic for the fucking Charlos. I start with you, Miguel. Where do you fall on this? And I'm going to say it for the first time in a long time. Your job depends on a good answer here.
And, has it really been that long since you last said that? No. Yeah, I definitely think. I mean, obviously they're kind of like, what's the word? This is a facade, right? We know they're inflating the numbers like a motherfucker. We know they're inflating it like a son of a bitch. That was kind of like me being or optimistic. I thought, man, maybe they'll reach 100K. Realistically, I'll be surprised if they pass 50K. To be honest, I mean, like I don't even think. I mean, who ordered this really? This was two Charlos.
Like, okay, let's just say that maybe in the distant past, I was completely out of my mind, drunk and on heavy medication as well, and may or may not have gotten drunk and married and divorced during blackouts. Let's just say that that's a hypothetical, okay?
Okay.
And recorded many pieces of audio that are so cringeworthy that I can't even listen to them. Let's just say hypothetically.
All right.
In my blackout delusional waiting for the cops to take me away in front of all my neighbors condition, there's no fucking way I would buy that pay-per-view for $80. No fucking way. I would actually challenge it on the bill. I would actually question myself going, in a blackout, you bought a $80, like a parent talking to a child. Lee, we need to talk. Sit down. Did you steal our credit card? And did you order the Charlo pay-per-view? What were you thinking? You could have caused serious damage to boxing. You could have driven around and crashed into boxing and killed it by giving $80 to the PBC and Showtime. Andrew, do you think that Mike Coppinger is completely full of shit now?
Yeah, no. I mean, 100,000 buys. Even if they did that, they probably didn't make any money from what they pay their fighters. That's around what, 8.4 million, 120,000 buys, around $8.4 million they make. Top of that goes straight, gets split up with the. Oh, you know what? That Showtime or just PBC?
Showtime and
Showtime.
PBC.
Yep.
Showtime/PBC.
If Showtime was involved, then they're taking 10% off the top, plus they're getting a percentage of the revenue. That's usually how that contract worked with HBO back in the day. I don't know if it's changed now because they really don't have a platform anymore, but it doesn't seem like they made that great of money anyways. They had two cards they had to pay for, the two main events. That's what you want to call them. You had two main event fighters you had to pay for. We know they're getting a few million each. So, and there's no fans. So roughly $8.4 million. I don't know if they even made a dime on this fight.
Andrew, we're joined on the phone by Steven Espinosa's calculator. Please hold. And Steven Espinosa got an $8.4 million bonus. Wow, Steven Espinosa calculator. Thank you for helping us out. Joining us on the line now is Steven Espinosa. Steven, go ahead. Hey.
Clarissa, you followed us way over here to the bubble, to our bubble.
Okay. Moving forward, to the next story, the Boxing Voice. Fans of our show, we're fans of their show. Let's talk about it. Mike Coppinger, once again, Andrew, he's working really hard on being on the shit list. I think there's a good chance Crawford moves over to the PBC in the near future, sources report. All right, Andrew, he's 2 for 2. Let's start with this one. Do you think, let's assume that the sun bursts and we live in eternal darkness, and that's the new world, okay? The moon has crashed into the earth, all right? Is there any possible chance that Crawford moves to the PBC?
You know, when I read that, Lee, the first thing I thought about was all the negotiating that's been going on between Spence and Crawford themselves. This is what these two guys have told their fans on social media, that they talk on the phone. Well, how do you know that these conversations on the phone don't have Al Heyman on a three-way? And Al Heyman's promising, you know, all the money in the world to Crawford if he is to come over and sign with them. So yes, I mean there is a chance that Terrence Crawford is being talked to through Spence, you know, with Al Heyman. Maybe when Spence calls him, he gives the phone right over to Al, and he says, before we talk about the fight, let's talk about a contract. Let's talk about what I can do for you. The same fucking bullshit stories he's been giving all these guys, yet there's not been a Floyd Mayweather come out of that organization since it's been made. Not one, not even fucking close. I mean, the closest they have to Floyd Mayweather was a heavyweight champion who was undefeated. It's really not hard to make 20 million as a heavyweight champion who's undefeated. They've been making $20 million since I was fucking 10 in 1990. So the fact that Wilder got to that point doesn't impress me. What he was able to do with Floyd Mayweather's career, duplicate that. You've had a bunch of undefeated fighters. Duplicate that one. And I hope, Terrence Crawford thinks about that before he signs with the PBC, but something has to get done here. What Bob should do is make sure, Bob should cover his butt a little here and make sure that there isn't negotiating going on behind his back. Now, I don't know the laws. I don't know if he can stop it or if he can't, but, he better hope that, he doesn't lose out on another major fight here, because Bob missed out on a few of them. The De La Hoya Mayweather being one of the biggest fights he wasn't a part of. Spence versus Crawford would be a huge fucking fight that basically Top Rank helped build, yet wouldn't see any of the revenue from it.
Miguel Antonio Barragan.
I wouldn't be surprised if there are feelers from BBC, kind of trying to on the download talking to Crawford. I think Crawford sees the dollar signs, so I think he's I don't want to say being lured, but he's definitely I do think he wants to jump ship at this point, because I kind of get the impression that he's getting a little tired of Top Rank and Bob Arum. On the other side, I don't feel like Bob is gonna is going to take this lying down. He's going to take we're going to see the kind of lawsuits and shit like that we've seen with him in the past, and even like to the degree of like not seeing Crawford in the ring for a while. I mean, besides this pandemic, of course, but the things that he went through with Mikey Garcia, like I anticipate it as being the same thing. I don't know if we're going to see ultimately the light at the end of the tunnel with Crawford actually leaving Top Rank and then coming over to PBC. I don't know if we'll get to that point or not. Of course, I ultimately I want to see Spence and Crawford, however the fuck it's made. Either it's while Crawford is still with Top Rank or not. But that's ultimately the point, right? There's where we want to get to. It's the big fights that we need to be thinking about and need to be made, I should say. I know I kind of feel like Crawford does want to jump ship, but it's not going to be fucking easy. And what's his name? Arum is not going to take this line down for sure.
Excuse me.
I mean,
excuse me. Can I jump in?
No.
Apparently, you two fucking morons seem to think that I'm going to let Crawford leave my stable based on what I'm listening to. I could be completely wrong, but I'm still Bob fucking Arum, right? Right?
Yeah.
Is that the name on the door? Is it?
Yeah.
You, Lapache. What's the name on the door?
Yeah, but Crawford's careers went nowhere, so you could say Bob
Listen.
Arum all you want, but the
Listen.
evidence speaks
What's
for
the name on the door? That's right.
I mean,
The
shit,
guy
even
who
the
promoted Jack
even the
Johnson in his
PDC
first
guys
fight in
are
1915. That's right. Screw Al Heyman. Screw you two. And Coppinger is clearly getting paid off by Al Heyman. And you guys don't see it. Okay, the police are coming for me right now. I gotta go. Okay. Okay. Gotta go.
Bye, Bob.
That's because he's getting robbed
I couldn't
again.
have even timed that better if I tried, really. I just came outside because I wanted fresh air.
Yes.
But,
And,
hey,
timing is everything in
for those-
comedy.
For those of you who recently watched the South
I mean,
Park COVID episode, all voices are portrayed on this show badly. Come on. Do you guys really
seriously
think...
though, seriously,
Yes, seriously.
he's
Give me
33.
seriously about
And
Crawford ever leaving Bob. That's his biggest
Well, can
product.
you hear me? Are you not hearing me good? Are you guys not hearing me?
We're hearing you.
No, we
I hear you.
All right. Okay. I was saying, seriously, he's 33 years old, so something has to happen. Did you guys see that? His birthday was last week. Crawford is 33 years old now. Like, this fight isn't going to even be them in their primes here in a fucking few years. I know fighters last a lot longer than they did back in the day, but still, wasn't like, what, 26 to 29, maybe 30 was your prime years. These are your legit. This dude's 30 fucking 3 now.
Andrew.
Very sad. What?
This is
very
Bob.
sad.
Andrew, are you there? This is Bob. Andrew. This is Bob.
But it's not like the money hasn't been offered.
33 is the new 23, and 105 is the new 54.
I know. That's what old people say, though, Bob.
There you go. Shout out to everybody that was missing Bob. Here's another good story for you, Andrew, to get you all fired up. Jermell Charlo was named Boxer of the Month by the WBA. It released its September rankings as well as its monthly awards, in which Jermell Charlo won Boxer of the Month. And Ugas was honorable mention. When did the world go back to PBC blowjobs? When did this occur? Okay, when did this all occur? Like, what dystopian nightmare did I wake up from one day to pull news stories, say, on a Sunday morning, thinking, oh, look, first story out of the gate, Kovalev's going to jail. I'm excited about Fight Net Radio. And the second story I pull up, a Charlo is going to be named Fighter of the Month. You've got to be crapping me. What?
Well, I mean, it's the one that unified at junior middleweight, correct? I'm praying.
Yes.
It's the one that unified. All right. Well, that makes sense. Lee got almost all the titles except, I believe, the WBO. So.
Andrew,
he
watched all his fights to get those titles. He didn't fight anybody to get the titles. It was basically manufactured.
Yes. No, I know. I hear you on that, but he still defeated. He beat a guy that beat the guy, right? Because Hurd had him. No, who had him?
Yeah.
Williams?
Yeah. It was no, hold on. Was it Williams? Oh yeah. Hold on. Shit. Because I remember Hurd unified with Laura, and then lost those two to Williams, who then lost those two to Rosario, who then unified with Charlo.
Yeah.
And
he knocked him out to win him.
Yeah. Well, quote unquote, knocked him out.
Right. Fighter of the Month, Andrew? Fighter of the Month. Come on. Really? Is that the best the WBA
I'm
can
going to
do?
do the Timothy Bradley. Ha, 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 ha. That's my Timothy Bradley, so I don't have to answer. Ha, ha, ha. Fucking guy.
You can imagine him like shrugging his shoulders when he laughed. He's like, every single time his shoulders raise.
Well, let's go to the
pretty
story
bad
that
news.
actually made me smile this morning.
Hmm.
On October 3rd, it was announced via press release, I assume, former light heavyweight champion Sergey the Crusher Kovalev received 3 years probation for misdemeanor fighting, noise offense, words, and other bullshit after reaching a plea agreement with prosecutors in regards to his altercation with a woman and a dog 2 years ago in Big Bear, California. Crusher must also take anger management classes. The woman alleged that Kovalev punched her and that he kicked the dog.
Whoa.
And that she spurned his sexual advances. I just enjoy reading that paragraph. Okay, it made me happy to read that paragraph because not only did you punch her, you kicked the dog because she didn't want to hook up with you. And I'll go out on a limb. We're not talking the classiest of women up in Big Bear. This isn't like the hub for super hot beach dwellers. For those of you who don't know anything about Big Bear, it is a crappy mountain resort just outside of Los Angeles, California, that I can only describe as Stockton with ski slopes on a hilltop. That's about the best way to describe it. The only reason there are people up there is because they don't own cars to get out of there. Okay, that there's no like hidden millionaires up in Big Bear, and the only reason boxers go up there is because De La Hoya is one of De La Hoya's trainer built a training facility up there that has now become the thing because it's at altitude and it's near Los Angeles. Now we're all caught up. Let's get back to Crusher kicking a dog and punching a woman for not getting laid, basically, and only getting 3 years probation. First of all, kudos to that attorney for getting someone off on assault, number one. Number two, I believe it's a federal offense to actually hurt animals currently. Kudos again on that one, counselor. And number three, did I let Kovalev go for not being able to pull down a chick in Big Bear? Did I let that originally go the first time we covered this story? Because what little game do you have to have as Sergey Kovalev not to be able to pull a female in Big Bear? I'm pretty sure in a drunken blackout, anybody who walks upright with all of their teeth should be able to get laid in that town and not wind up in a brawl with a woman and a dog. Kovalev pulled it off. So I turn to you, Andrew. Good lawyering, right? This is really solid lawyering. I mean, like there's video, there's witnesses.
Yeah, I mean, if there's a doctor's report, I mean, it said it isn't this the one where she claimed he not dislocated her vertebrae, but moved one, right? He shifted one out of the place when he punched her.
Got checked out. The woman's name was Jamie.
Yeah, that's like bodily harm. That's usually 10 years alone right there for doing that to someone. You can't permanently injure somebody. That's a big no-no. Like if you hit someone with a bottle and you scar their head or something, that's bodily harm you do. That's 10 years by itself. So I don't know how the hell he got off of all those charges, but yeah, fuck, who knows, Lee? Maybe he's broke because of it. I mean, he might have.
Wait, no.
Had to pay his lawyer really good money.
I turned to our thug correspondent, Miguel Antonio Barragan. Is this just a case of white people just getting off the hook?
Not the 40s you drink.
Yeah, not the Ronas you drink. I mean, that's some killer ass lawyering. I mean, according to the article, it says that he, completed anger management and paid $220 in court fees. All right, and then plus, of course, whatever he's going to pay the chick. But I mean, damn, this is some great lawyering. I don't know. The Crusher, did the Crusher even knock her out? Didn't even do that. The Crusher's gone. The Crusher, he's finished. He's finished at this point. And leave the dog alone, please. Don't be putting dogs. You know
Are we more upset about the dog?
I feel more upset
about
the dog. I'm pretty pissed off about the dog. Like you don't.
Right?
You know, I'm saying he's. Come on now.
This is an amazing story. Like this is only a white guy would get off for punching a woman and kicking a dog, and only get 3 years probation and $220 in court fees. Outstanding. And our fighter of the month here at Fight Net Radio, Sergey Crusher Kovalev, for hiring a good lawyer. Fine job. Shout out to Sergey and his team. Moving forward, Eddie Hearn reported this week. Promoter Eddie Hearn announced on Twitter that he has tested positive for the coronavirus. He is promoting a show this weekend outside of London. Why is he promoting a fight outside of London? He has COVID, so he can't do it at his home anymore, of course. Let's start right there, Andrew. Everybody's got the COVID.
Yeah. Yeah, I think he just got bored of being at his house. I don't believe him at all.
Is it trend? Are you saying that? Are you saying there's a conspiracy, including the president of the United States, where they're just bored and want to create drama by saying, "I've got the COVID"?
It's possible. Lee. That made more news than his damn fight card being announced, I'll tell you that.
Miguel Antonio Barragan. Do you believe that the COVID is real?
I believe that COVID is real. I certainly don't believe that Hearn has it. I'm not going to call myself a conspiracy theorist, but yeah, it seems to be the in thing to just claim that you got COVID and get your name up on the fucking news, especially if you need a little bit more of a spotlight on your promotion. But I mean, if he does have it, that sucks. He's a young cat. I'm sure he'll be fine. He'll be able to get over it. He has left officially the bubble of his home, so he's off being quarantined somewhere. We'll see how that goes.
With all of that said, Matchroom unveils new bubble outside of London, transforming the Marshall Arena at Stadium NK into Milton Keynes, whatever, West, about 50 miles northwest of London, and created a brand new state-of-the-art media zone bubble. After the success of Fight Camp, we needed to blank canvas to create a creative. Who wrote this? Create a creative. What a terrible sentence. Create a creative. I can't even get past that. We needed a blank canvas to create a creative solution to boxing behind closed doors, said Eddie Hearn. Is that a real sentence that came out of his mouth? Maybe he does have the COVID, Andrew. I mean, that's, first of all, grammatically, it's awful. Secondly, does anybody really care that much about Matchroom's bottom-dwelling fighters that he needs a state-of-the-art bubble for his fighters?
Is it on DAZN? They need some fighters.
Yeah,
no?
it's on the zone. Yeah.
All right, or DAZN. Jeez, still don't know the name of it.
Close
Hello?
enough.
Yep, that's good.
Where did everybody go?
Oh, Lee, did we lose you?
I'm here.
Oh. Yeah, I'm here too.
No,
I can't hear anybody.
it's Lee.
Lee? Oh. Lee, are you still there?
I have no idea.
Are you still there, Lee?
We can hear you. Text them, bro. Tell them we can.
Yeah, I'm gonna text him right nizzle. No.
Nope.
Lee, how about now?
Yeah, hold on.
Okay.
Hold on. Everybody hear me again?
Yeah, we can hear you. I can.
Okay.
Yes.
That was bizarre. Are we still recording?
Yeah, I haven't stopped.
Which means I'm now doing audio editing. Yay for me.
Yeah.
Okay. Andrew, start with you. Does Eddie Hearn need does he need a state-of-the-art facility for his undercard?
No, why would you say that? What happened there?
What are you saying, that you didn't hear me talk about his creating of You're telling me my entire rant was lost? Oh, man, it was great. I went on for at least 5 minutes about the bad grammar of what Eddie Hearn said. Oh, I love technical difficulties. All right, I'm off the story.
Hey, is it because he tested positive at the bubble? They can't be there at his house anymore? Is that what happened?
Where I was going with it. Hold on. Now we're back to Matchroom Boxing has transformed the Marshall Arena. Yeah. You're exactly right. Marshall Arena at Stadium MK in Milton Keyes, about 50 miles northwest of London. All right, I'll do the same rant I did again. This is the direct quote. After the success of Fight Camp, we needed a blank canvas to create a creative solution. First of all, create a creative, that's just bad grammar for a guy like Eddie Hearn. I mean, I really have a problem with that all by itself. But with that said, they want to create a state-of-the-art facility where they can do behind closed doors boxing. Now, my question that I laid out for you, Andrew, was for his undercards? Question mark.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on here. Maybe they got tired of having people over his house. He thought it was only going to be a few months. It looks like it's going to carry on a lot longer. So now he wants to move it. Someone might have got mad that they're having it at the house.
Well, now you're kind of making it funny. Now you're making it sound like his dad said, "Son, clean up your fight gear in the backyard."
That's exactly what I think happened.
Son, the plantation doesn't look the same with the black fellows actually boxing instead of raking leaves. That is so funny. No, that is so...
not that funny.
It actually really is. Well, first of all, his dad is a racist. We've already confirmed that on the show.
Funny if you're racist.
First of all, his dad is a racist, legitimately. Second of all, really, how do you not see this? Like his dad, "Son, are you still doing the boxing thing in the backyard? Can't you clear that up and move it along?" "Sure, Dad, I'll go find another spot outside of London somewhere that probably isn't restricted by the COVID, Dad. No problem, I'll just spend a couple of $1 million. A couple of million, son. No big deal, right? He's literally building a state-of-the-art facility for boxing at the end of COVID. That's insane. That's legitimately insane. You do it at the beginning. Like, it's basically it's Fight Island all over again.
The UK actually, they went back into a lockdown, didn't they? The sporting events, at least.
Yeah, that they went back into it. So it's going to have to be a state-of-the-art fucking facility because the fight
that's why I think
has been contaminated. Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. Well, they probably thought this was going to be a few months. Now another lockdown comes. Shit, you ain't doing it in the backyard again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Moving on.
It's like, don't bring those friends over. Don't bring those guys over.
Yeah, no, right. Yeah, stop having your friends over. They're leaving beer bottles in the backyard.
They're leaving beer bottles. Yeah, they're leaving us with the corona.
I'm missing stuff. Yeah, I'm missing stuff that used to be big at my house. One friend come over, all of a sudden shit's missing.
Oh my gosh!
You gotta take off the shoes.
What did I tell you guys? Right. What did I tell you guys when you came over? All right, don't change in my mom's room. Somebody took one of the pieces of silverware.
Yeah. Who got in the fridge? Who ate all the Capri Sun?
It was Anthony Joshua. It was Joshua. No doubt. Joshua was in the fridge again. Our final story of today, Canelo, Golden Boy, DAZN rift widens. A last-ditch effort by Golden Boy and DAZN to bring Canelo Alvarez back into the fold has failed. According to Telemundo, Canelo has refiled his $280 million lawsuit alleging breach of contract. The initial filing was thrown out of court after Canelo's legal team used incorrect designations for the defendants. This gave the parties 3 weeks to resolve their differences. Unfortunately, no deal was reached, and the corrected suit was then refiled before the deadline. According to promoter Oscar De La Hoya, Canelo's contract calls for disputes to be resolved in arbitration. The wheels of justice turn slowly, even in the best of times. With everything still locked down in California due to COVID-19, this situation could go on for a long time. All right, based on my logic of the fact that our courts technically aren't open in California, let's go with something really simple here. How does Canelo expect to get money if the courts are closed? Like, does he have enough money to just sit around until this works out? And when it gets worked out, I could be wrong about this. Andrew, correct me. Canelo's going to be older.
Yeah, you know what I'm a little bit tired of hearing is I thought they were over this. I thought he's getting $20 million. He should be fighting in December. Now all of a sudden he files again. So did they not have a 10-hour negotiation where they worked out a deal or not? You know, it's just the stories that keep flying around on the internet. You got some guys with legit sources, and then you got, you know, bloggers out there who just take news off of Twitter or some old report and they write something up on their own trying to act like, you know, they're covering the story when they're actually not. They're not even up to date on the news. So I would like to know, what is the real news? Does this fucking guy have a contract with DAZN for 20-something million a fight, or are we going back to court because he wants his 35 million? I don't really want to talk about it until we have a legit answer on what the news is.
I agree. Look,
I think the 20 million a fight was the offer. Whether or not Canelo actually accepted that is another story. That part I'm not too sure, but I think it was the offer, the initial offer of 20 million a fight, which isn't obviously the 30 whatever the fuck million that was originally on the contract. So I did kind of see that $20 million a fight floating around online, but last I remember that was just the offer. I don't think it was actually accepted. Which is one of the other reasons why they've refiled this shit. Besides that initial error in the initial lawsuit, but yeah, I don't think he's accepted it. I think that's one of the numbers being thrown around, but I don't think Canelo's accepted it.
Yeah, I agree. I don't understand his logic. Like, his logic is not making sense to me because he's burning time. He wants to
that's
make more
the biggest
money.
deal. I think that's the biggest fucking deal because I like to answer your question earlier, Lee. I think he does have the money to just sit around and just fuck off for another year. I think he does have the money for that. But the time off, yeah, that'll help him heal a little bit, whatever nagging injuries he may have. But he's going to be older, of course. Especially like how is he going to be from that year layoff? Is he in the gym training? Is he going to be, you know, on some beach somewhere, just kind of chilling, quarantining himself and his whole family? That's kind of my thing. It's the time thing. He only has so many years left, you know.
Somehow, I feel that a dumb white guy has advised Canelo that there's money to be had. What I'm learning from today's show is there are a lot of dumb white people. Isn't that our takeaway here? Here's what let me tell you what I'm hearing from both of you. There are a lot of dumb white people. And I don't want to put words in either one of your mouth. We should get rid of all white people.
Yeah. Thank you for the disclaimer.
Lee's mind is thinking.
Well, come on. Would we not have less racism in the world if we got rid of white people? I would be happy with that.
DAZN has a little bit to the blame here.
The blame
didn't
here.
accept
They threw the
some
money on the
fighters
table.
Yes, but you got to have some common sense, right? Because there's a lot of sports that are underwater right now. I mean, they say baseball, basketball, everybody's hurting right now with the no fans in the seats. Okay, now those other sports, they have TV contracts and they sell a lot more jerseys than Canelo sells T-shirts probably on his website currently. Or freaking his TV contract. You know, I'm sure he wasn't making, well, he was making it off DAZN, but if we remember, DAZN wasn't really doing that good with subscribers even when Canelo was fighting. There was already rumors that they weren't making the numbers that they needed to get Canelo and Anthony Joshua their money. because they got both of those guys at a very big price.
And
Um,
Triple G as
Canelo
well,
needs to
100
take a little
million.
bit.
That's a lot.
Yeah, yes, and that was actually the only fight that I think they was Canelo's first one that he did with them, where they said they had broken the record or they got the most downloads that weekend. But did the guys keep their subscription, or did they cancel it the next day? I know since the COVID's broken out, I don't know too many people that are, have the zone right now, because they're just not putting out a product that is, if you didn't spend that $100 to get the year, that $20 a month, no, it's not worth it. They're not giving us any kind of entertainment for that type of
Yes,
price.
but
$20 a month.
they're banking,
$100.
they're banking on white people paying for soccer. Again, white people. The racist white people.
Well, I don't even know. In America. I don't know if that flies, Lee. That seems like a bad platform to run with in America.
Well, yes, but
I
an
think they were thinking
industrial
Canelo's gonna
oil
bring.
company probably shouldn't have invested into a gaming streaming channel either, to be perfectly honest. I mean, that's the reality here. We're talking about, they're like an industrial oil drilling company that needed to dump hundreds of millions of dollars into a project. They turned it over to probably somebody's cousin, again, probably white, I might add, who then decided, oh, let's give Canelo like $1 billion and tell him he's got to fight 12 times for us on our channel. And then Oscar came along and hey, I get 30% of that. And Canelo, who's got a bad knee, 2 bad knees, depending on the report you're talking about, who just basically wants to collect paychecks for a year and stick steroids into his knees before his next fight. How do you guys not see this as a guy who's really banged up from the fights that he's taken? He has taken time off for healing and alleged drug use that magically appeared late in his career. For a guy who's probably one of the best trained athletes out there, he suddenly gets caught for tainted meat. It all stinks. It all smells, and it just sounds like somebody's trying to get money, and it's generally lawyers that want the money. Reaction.
Andrew, go ahead.
Like I said, a lot of times sitting on the sidelines. If he's not fighting and the zone is not making any money on any of their other sports, their other platforms that they have for this streaming site, this is going to end very badly for both parties with nobody getting paid. If I was Canelo, I would, take in consideration something's going on that doesn't happen all the time. The pandemic thing, the lockdown of the whole world, basically. And you got to find a way to work it out. Even if it's all right, I'll take your deal now, but 2 years, whenever the pandemic's over, they got to pay them back somehow. They have to do something to make up the money. Work out a contract like that. It keeps the zone in business because you're helping them out, and then it also maybe gets you some money down the road where you might not have as much, because you do like buying horses and you like traveling the world and living on yachts, and you do all the same shit. Sometimes I see the fighters here in America make mistakes on. Tank Davis being one of them. He's being sued right now for a check of $427,000 that bounced. You heard me correct. He paid a jeweler $427,000 for one piece of jewelry, a necklace, and now his check is bouncing. Canelo's not in Tank Davis's troubles financially, but down the road he could be when you continue this. The other day he bought Oscar Valdez a horse. Did any of you guys see that on social media?
No.
He loves horses, Canelo.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and he bought one for Oscar Valdez. Just sent it to his house.
And again, white people
these are not cheap.
Yeah.
These are not cheap gifts.
Yeah, no, and on top of the horses themselves, how much the price tag on them? It's the maintenance on top of that shit too.
It's the
food,
maintenance.
The maintenance.
And he runs them, and he trains them, And I don't know where Canelo's keeping up with this. Like, he's got a lot of
Takes
overhead.
pictures with them.
Mhm.
Yeah,
He loves
in
taking
various
photos where he's like
positions
kissing
without
the
a shirt
horse.
on. Yeah,
Yeah.
no kidding.
Very novella-ish. And I'll tell you guys, I don't have the Zone
Yes.
app anymore. Like I used to have it because I used to have friggin' Bellator fights and Matchroom and everything. But with fewer fights, I'm like, fuck it, I just cancel that shit. It's like I don't even watch that anymore. How this is gonna this is not it will not end well for either parties. Like Canelo's not gonna get the money that he wants, and the Zone's not gonna get the fights out of Canelo. It's gonna be a complete shit show ultimately at the very end. And to touch on what Andrew was saying earlier, I wonder if the Zone was offering some sort of like more money at the tail end of the contract. When they came to him saying, "Hey, can we take a discount on your next fight with whomever the fuck you're gonna fight?" Like, was it just that? Like, hey, we're gonna fuck you out of some X amount of dollars, or they're saying, hey, take a pay cut this time, but next time we'll make it up, or something like that. Like, there were no details towards that. I wonder if that was ever on the table. Like, giving them a pay cut now, but making it up later on at the tail end of the contract or something.
I'm just
I don't
telling
know.
you, it's lawyers.
I hope there
I'm just
was.
telling you, I'm just telling you, this
I
is
hope-
all about lawyers.
Yeah.
The only
Yeah,
people
well,
getting
I hope
rich in
there
this
is some
entire
kind of
scenario.
conversation.
No, the truth of this whole situation is this is about lawyers making money, and they're taking advantage of Canelo. They're taking advantage of, well, basically boxing people in general. But the reality is, it's about lawyers making money. That's who wins. Who wins in a divorce? The lawyers.
Yeah.
Who
Oh,
wins
yeah.
in this?
Mhm.
Who wins in this dispute?
Yes.
Lawyers. They want it to stretch on for years.
Mhm.
You're gonna file, Canelo. You're gonna get all the money. You're gonna get all the money. My team of uptight white lawyers and our big crack team, we got this. We got this. Oh, sure, it'll take a couple of years, but don't you worry. You've got us on retainer. We won't bill you till the end. Just give us $1 million. That should be enough to cover the legal team of 15 people and a couple of people to do deep dives on Oscar's life. In fact, we'll probably run a PR campaign and smear campaign against Oscar and bring back the fishnet stocking photos as well. We got this. We got this, Canelo. That's who's going to win here.
And
Boxing
still,
is
it's
not going
very
to win.
sad. It's very sad that Oscar's. It's very sad that he even has Oscar tied up in that lawsuit. To me, Oscar De La Hoya has nothing to do with what him and DAZN are going through. Oscar got him the
he does, because
contract
Oscar's
that
got 20 or 30%
nobody
of
else
that
in
contract.
boxing.
This
It
is
doesn't
about
matter.
Oscar's decision.
Nobody else in boxing had ever made that. It's the largest sports deal of all time. So that's what you pay these people to get for you. All right. That's what Oscar's job was to do, was to make his client the richest athlete that he could, and he did that. So he deserves that 30%. Seriously.
I'm not
Without
disputing
Oscar,
that.
I don't know if Canelo ever gets there. He might be a PBC bitch boy right now without Oscar De La Hoya. Seriously, because let's go back to it. Who's Al Heyman made? Has anyone heard of anybody in the PBC striking the largest fucking deal in sports franchise history?
No, but
No.
Deontay Wilder
No, he does not have the largest sports deal.
No, he turned down the largest
He
sports
turned it down. That's right. Oscar did not turn it down. He made his fighter the richest athlete there was. So yeah, no, Canelo has a lot to be thankful for. When he was 21 getting baited by Floyd Mayweather to do that fight at a catch weight, he probably turns into one of Al Heyman's stable fighters on that and that during that time, if it wasn't for Oscar De La Hoya keeping him under Golden Boy, putting him in a path that would get him to be the richest fighter. Not Al Heyman. I'm still waiting for Floyd. He's had a lot of undefeated guys. He's had at least 3 undefeated guys that they said could have been the face of boxing. I'm waiting for the PBC to bust out somewhere with them.
Andrew, is it
Terrence
better
Crawford's
to be famous?
33 years old.
Oh, yes. Yes, he is, but that's the new 23.
Go
Bob
ahead.
told us directly. Is it better to be famous or infamous? I mean, we're always going to remember Deontay Wilder for turning down literally hundreds of millions of dollars to stay with the PBC and ultimately lose his title to Tyson Fury. I, for as long as I record this show, will simply never forget that moment in boxing history. And to be perfectly honest, He was a forgetful fighter anyway, and now he's literally the dumbest fighter in the history of boxing.
Oh, and did you guys hear that he freaking got rid of Mark Breland from his corner? I don't know. You hear that recently?
Yeah.
How he freaking let his ass go? The
Yes.
one that threw in the towel. I don't know. I assume it has something to do with him throwing in the towel, although I haven't read that that's officially the reason. But I mean, come on, we can put two and two together.
Okay, are we going to have to
It
bring
was
back
always the reason.
Yeah.
Andrew, do we have to bring back Fighters Corner again and start giving helpful tips to boxers who listen to this show and or their cornermen? Because clearly people are out of control again. I feel that in the boxing world. They are just out of control. You got Kovalev punching women
And
in Big
punching
Bear and
dogs.
kicking dogs.
Uh,
You've got Canelo, who's literally going to shelf himself, I'm going to say realistically 2 years. Canelo doesn't fight for 2 years.
Damn. Maybe 32
And
on the
that's
other end. Ugh.
well, no,
No,
and
that's
here's why.
still too
We're
far.
already the courts are already now a year behind. So he's at the back of the line for a year of waiting in line for a case that's probably going to take 6 months to a year when they actually get to it. 2 years before you see him in the ring, if he's really going to go through with this. Now, if his goal is to tie everybody up and make everybody negotiate or back down, he's playing chicken, right? That's all he's doing. He wasn't going to fight during the pandemic anyway because there aren't any fans and nobody's offering him the numbers he thinks he's worth, which is the reality of this situation. Oscar just wants to do what Bob's doing, which is, okay, you don't have to fight anybody, but you kind of got to fight. Like, you have to fight. Like, I understand you're fat, and you don't like dieting, and you don't like working out. Nobody does. No fighter does. But that's the reality of this situation. 2 years. Can we live without Canelo for 2 years? Will we remember Canelo for 2 years, Andrew?
No, Canelo's done if he's waiting 2 years on the sideline. Canelo wasn't really liked um, in the first place. There's a lot of people in Mexico like to see him lose more than they like to see him win. It almost happens to every fighter that's, can, how I always say, they can kick your ass and take your girlfriend. Whenever you get a guy like that in the room, a lot of other guys don't like him, and I've always felt that with Canelo. That's why there's just been a lot of hate in his career. So no, I don't see him being able to wait 2 years to fight. And on top of that, they have to find an opponent that is going to bring the fans in to see him. See, even if they give Canelo a 20 million, say he says, fuck it, I'll fight for 20 million. Can DAZN generate $20 million in subscriptions for Canelo fighting, let's say, a Gabe Rosario or whoever the title defense is on one of the belts that he holds? Will that draw enough interest from the boxing fans? And I don't really know. Canelo, he has that loss to Floyd. He has a few other losses that people like, or a few other wins that people like to hold over his head as defeats. Austin Trout being one of them, Lara being another. I'm just giving you arguments that you see online all the time about Saul Alvarez's career. I don't know if they're going to drop the money to watch him in a guaranteed win. Ugh, who wants to see him win? We want to see him lose. That's what they're watching for. So they have to find an opponent that can generate that interest while coming in substantially lesser in money that they're asking for, because now they have to give him 20 million. His opponent can't make 5. His opponent can't make 10. That's now you're getting into the same money that Canelo was supposed to get in the first place. So they need an opponent that's going to come in for a cool $2 million and generate enough interest in the fight that people want to pay to see. I don't know if Canelo's that guy anymore. Dead serious. Anthony Joshua, he's known around the world. Everyone loves watching him. They all love cheering. The guy has 100,000 people cheering his name in when he was fighting in the big arenas. So there's a big difference between Anthony Joshua and Saul Alvarez.
Miguel Antonio Barragan, 2 years shelf, or is it a game of chicken?
Well, I do. I mean, I could both, I guess, because I do kind of feel like it's a game of chicken to see which one will give first. I feel like people will still remember Canelo after 2 years. I think what he's done throughout his career so far is enough momentum to have people remember him come 2 years from now, even if he hasn't been in the ring. He does have a ton of fucking haters, and I mean a ton of haters, big time. How many Mexican fans I've seen with Triple G hats? Honestly, like they swear like the dude get hate like a motherfucker, but that is one of the reasons why people will tune in 2 years from now if he's out, to finally see his ass lose. I think Canelo mentioned this some time ago about potentially fighting in Japan, and there's right off the bat I can't think of his name, but there's a specific Japanese fighter who's a middleweight, and I think if they make some sort of fight in Japan or something like that, I think there's enough Japanese interest. If he fights this particular Japanese guy, I forget his name right off the bat, but it's like the former WBA champion. I think he's a current champion.
He fought Rob Blant, right? Didn't he lose to Rob?
Yeah, well,
top right.
They had two fights. They had one where he lost, and then he got the belt back from Brandt afterwards. So I think that would be, I mean, to the American audience, it's not enough of an interest for us to be like, oh shit, yeah, let's get this DAZN subscription back. But for the Japanese audience, I think they might. I don't even know if they get DAZN over there, but that would probably be his best bet because he's shown interest, shown interest in fighting in Japan in the past. I think a comeback fight somewhere over there might make him a decent amount of money. I'm pretty sure people.
Ryota Murata.
Perfect. Thank you. That's who. I think that will be the best opponent right now. I think as far as him trying to get as much money out of any opponent he can get is going to be over there because those Japanese fans, man, those guys support fucking and they're their own. They support their own like a motherfucker, especially with like people like Monster. So I think that would be his best bet. I don't know if it's enough interest from U.S. fans for us to want to, re-up our subscription with DAZN, but I think that would be his best bet and probably the most big money fight he can come up with if he fights, especially over there in Japan.
Now we've got a real Fight Net Radio. Do you feel better now, Andrew? What I'm hearing is that I need to really tap into the Canelo each week to really bring Fight Net Radio to a show that you can be proud of, more or less. Is there anything you'd like to add this week, Andrew?
Did you guys see, it wasn't this week, but it was last week, Eroy Spence did his first sparring match since the accident.
I did read about that, yeah. Yeah, no? I don't know how it went, but I did read about that. Yeah.
I don't have any reports back on how it went. I know that he sparred, but there is nobody talking about what went on in the sparring session, which is very odd.
Danny Garcia, it's very odd. If that's true, Danny Garcia is a live underdog in this fight. You can't play football with training for 3 weeks, and I don't think you can play boxing either. We know damn well that's the old saying, you don't play boxing, right? Mm-hmm. But can someone really, this fight with Danny's in next month?
November 21st.
November?
21st, I think it was, yeah.
Yeah, it's coming up.
Maybe he has coming up very fast here, and he barely started sparring last week. I don't know, man. I see what the odds are for Danny going in, maybe not by decision, but look for the stoppage. Danny better be gunning for this thing hard because this is the weakest Spence he's going to ever see. Nobody's going to have a better chance at beating Spence, knocking him off his little pedestal here than what Danny's going to be facing if the reports are true that he barely started sparring again.
But you're making the blind assumption that Danny Garcia is allowed to actually fight like a fighter.
But he has that left hook.
Yeah.
He has a pure left. Yeah, well, that's there's always that, right, in boxing. But he does have a big left hook, Lee. He has a left hook that's knocked out a lot of people. If Spence's timing is just a little bit off, that punch might do some damage on that night. It's just something to look at.
Very realistic. Yeah, that's very realistic that his timing is going to be off. Obviously with the accident and everything, on my YouTube channel, I posted a video about this a couple of months ago regarding this. And dude, if you see the amount of hate I got from the comments talking about, oh, this is already a built-in excuse for Spence when he loses, it's like, hold the fuck up. I'm not even on his side. Relax. But this is exactly that. This is going to be the weakest possible fucking Spence right now. Barely starting sparring. His timing is going to be off. Who knows how he is weight-wise, because we've seen him get chunky, right? Like, who the fuck knows? There's so many variables
Right.
in regards to this, and this is Danny's best shot, barring some fucked up, judge's decision or something like that. But that left hook can land at any freaking time. All he's got to do is bury his freaking face in the sand like Bernard Hopkins does, and throw that left hook, and bam. It's totally possible, especially right now. This is going to be the weakest Spence we're going to see, that we've seen, I should say.
Well, I mean, let's go a step further. Because this is a good one. This is the way we do Fight Net Radio. Let's assume that he's just now sparring, and let's assume that he's got a face full of hardware, wires, and new teeth, and he's not the same guy, right?
Mhm.
What is the excuse to extend the fight? I'm saying steroids. Any takers on the excuse of the fight not going off as scheduled? What do you think the PBC is going to go for?
I might say,
listen.
Oh, go ahead. Yeah.
Yes. You're right. Go ahead, Miguel. Take that.
Oh,
that's
what I was going to say. They're going to try to buy time so they'll be able, because from what I've heard / read, there's going to be fans. What is it, in the Leo Santa Cruz and Gervonta Davis fight that they pushed back? They pushed it back, not just because fans. Supposedly there's actually a UFC card that same weekend, and that's going to be a killer UFC card. So PBC is pushing the Davis and Leo Santa Cruz fight to the following week, which is the same night as the Monster fight. But anyway, it's the fans that they're trying to buy time so they'll be able to actually get fans into the crowd. I would say that's going to be the same. If this fight with Spence and Garcia doesn't go off on the date, I have to assume it's because they're trying to buy a little bit more time to be able to get fans into the arena.
Andrew?
Yeah, no, they definitely learned their lesson with the Charlo fight going on the same night as the the UFC.
Mhm.
Now all of a sudden, their Gervonta Davis and Leo Santa Cruz has been moved to October 31st. They learned their lesson. At least
have they said
that's
how they're
what they're
televising
blaming
that
on,
fight?
you guys. Let me tell you right now. Nobody in that company is going to point at Al Heyman, right? They're not going to say, "Hey, man, you said we were pay-per-view stars. What's going on?" They're gonna drag it out, blame the UFC, even though I think you put Charlo's a week later where there's no UFC pay-per-view or no UFC card. I still don't think it does good on the pay-per-view, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they're right, and it was because of the UFC, but that is damn well why they moved the Gervonta Davis and Leo Santa Cruz.
Andrew, been working on your
keep having
management.
numbers in the red.
And what I'm still hearing from you, Andrew, you're very angry still at the PBC, Andrew. That's what I'm hearing.
Missed a lot of good fights. I know that. Missed a lot of good fights.
I agree. Have they said how they're doing Santa Cruz's fight? Are they going to try to pay-per-view that Insanity?
Oh, that's a good question. I want to say I think they are actually. I mean, don't quote me on that, but last I read, I think it is going to be on pay-per-view.
If that's the case, then Bob is a genius.
Yeah.
It would have to be. It's their biggest fight that they're trying to televise today.
No, it's pay-per-view. Yes.
Right.
They
Which
can't
again
pay these guys without it being pay-per-view, Lee. They can't pay them.
Yeah.
Dude, Al Heyman used to write big checks, man, when he had these guys fighting on Fox and all that with no crowd and the money drying up in the PBC, we know, in their little investors. No one's reinvesting into that company. No, they had to switch the whole platform to pay-per-view. They've been running pay-per-view for a while now.
You're bringing up a great point. How is this company still aloft? Like, COVID should have put an end to them. Yet they're still around. Where's the money coming from? They were out of money already.
No. They almost had $1 billion. They almost had $1 billion. They had, like, I don't know, 700 million or something. They blew through almost half of it. Then the investors took them to court, wanting to point that money in another direction, and they were rejected. So he still has the investors' money in that portfolio, however that works. He still has their money, and he's able to work it. You got to remember, Deontay had 2 big fights with Tyson Fury. Maybe they got some money off of there to keep the lights on, but as far as paying these guys, continuing to pay these guys millions of dollars with no fans watching and no fans watching on TV, that just couldn't happen anymore. And we know a lot of these PBC cards are not being watched, and the tickets were being given away. Every time you watch a PBC fight, the whole fucking stable's sitting ringside. All of the fighters are sitting ringside. All of Showtime's actors are sitting ringside. Those are all comp tickets, man. Ain't nobody getting money from those. Gervonta Davis's check bounced at the jewelry store. It bounces for front row tickets too.
Wow. What have we learned? That the Hearns are still racist. We've learned that Andrew's hatred of I think this is a good session. I think we learned a lot today, Andrew. We've learned that Canelo's lawyers are going to be the winner in that particular case. We're learning that Oscar's about to be dragged through the mud, because if I were Canelo's attorney, that would be the exact thing that I'd start to blast out. I'd have people in Pasadena trying to get Oscar into a compromised position to make him look bad at this point. But I could be completely wrong. This note just handed to me. Davis ducks $500,000 bling from jeweler lawsuit. This was no accounting error or mistake, since the check was returned for insufficient funds. Davis has promised to make payment repeatedly, but failed to do so. Wow, Andrew's just sending more.
He learned from the school of Broner of Andre.
It's not the first time Davis, 22 of his 23 debts with the best of them. Gervonta Davis is known how to bob and weave when it comes to his paying his bling bills, claims a Manhattan jeweler to the Stars. Elliot Barave, what a name. Sounds like a jeweler. Sounds like a white jeweler, just saying it out loud. Who's at Elante and Company, counts for the Kardashians, Halle Berry, Offset, Lil Wayne, Roddy Ricch. Is Roddy Ricch somebody? I feel old. And a host of other bold-facers among its clientele. They are suing Davis for bouncing a nearly $500,000 check. He claims the undefeated WBA lightweight champion ordered 3 custom pieces in November, then had the buyer, then had Brave, maybe he's French, fly to Los Angeles to deliver them. Davis, 25, a 3-time champion whose nickname is Tank, handed over $486,671.25. That's just funny that it's got 25 cents in the bill. Okay, that's all by itself. That's just, why didn't you just round it to 487? Like, that's hilarious. Listen to this amount. $486,671.25. And by the way, a return check fee on that check is probably $15. So I'm sure he's going to add that. What's his return check fee with Wells or B of A? What is it, like $25? So you got to add that number in too. Check for the diamond tennis chain.
I didn't know people were still accepting checks too, man.
I didn't even know checks were a thing.
Or jewelers, like jewelers of all people.
Yeah, that's where the
checks. Like,
yo, bro, I'll write you a check. Wait right here. Yeah, like really, like why didn't he? Wouldn't you pull like a Floyd Mayweather and just pull out like one of those bags and just start throwing stacks of 100,000s at him like Mayweather does? Oh, so funny. Checks. The check was for a diamond tennis chain, a tank charm. Do we even want to talk about that he got a diamond-crusted tank charm?
What? Like a fucking
he got a
like
tank
Master
charm
P?
with emeralds and diamonds. He got a tank charm with emeralds and diamonds.
That's like Master P stuff. Remember Master P, the rapper back then? He used to have those tanks on his No Limit Soldiers. What he has around his neck.
True. With the TRU.
And hold on. And a watch with diamond baguettes. Aren't those something you eat at Starbucks? Said Brave in a Manhattan Supreme Court lawsuit. I'm still stuck at, really? $486,671.25. Now, I want to see the check. Did he write and 25 and wrote the word cents, or did he put the 25 over 100 the way I do when I add, 25 cents? Like it's 25 over 100. Like that's the way I write it. So did he spell it out? And by the way, How do you work? Is there enough room to write 480,000 and $671.25?
Nah,
Dude, that's 2 lines of print.
double lining
That's
that
it.
one. Yeah,
Dude,
Mhm.
yeah,
that's
you're
2 lines of print. How does that fit? Does he have like oversized checks? Does he have like publisher clearinghouse size? Maybe that's the dead giveaway to Brave. He came out with a big cardboard check like he had just won the Masters, and on it said $486,671.25, paid at the order of the baguette guy, and it said Bank of Nobody. And this guy walked in with a cardboard check to his bank and handed it to him, and maybe there's not even a return check fee. They looked at him and went, wow, you're stupid. You took that from another boxer again. And that's how this lawsuit started. Because I don't even know how you fit that on a
Oh,
check.
they'll
I
get
don't
their
even.
money though. Oh, they're gonna
Oh,
get their money. The kid's
Mhm.
fighting in a pay-per-view fight here in a few weeks, so they're gonna get their money from him. Now
since I
the
understand the
whole
athletic
the
commission,
debt.
I've seen this before. So if he gets the judgment before the fight, because I watched this with a couple of MMA cards, this guy, Brave, can show up, attach it with this athletic commission, and they'll put a hold on the purse for
Oh,
486,000. Yeah, that's for
Mhm.
real. 671 and 25 cents plus
dude,
the
that's
check,
child support.
probably attorney fees.
Mhm.
Oh,
That's in
so great.
garnishment, wage garnishments.
Shout out to Floyd Mayweather for creating such a genuine human being in the boxing
for
ranks.
three pieces. Yeah, for 3 pieces of jewelry, guys. 3 pieces of jewelry. Almost $500,000 you got to give to this
A
company or
house.
this man.
Mhm.
Do you like a house for like your cousin?
Just so
Or do you want 3 pieces of jewelry?
he's all,
Oh, I want 3 pieces of jewelry. I gotta have me that tank with the diamond crusted emerald thing on it. Of course you do. Why would you want to buy like your second cousin a house? I mean, that's just silly. I mean,
and in some parts of the world, Lee, you're buying a lot more with 486,000. Ain't just one house. He can do a
well,
lot more. Where is he from? Maryland? Where is
Yeah,
Davis from?
Baltimore.
Baltimore?
Yeah.
Baltimore, he
Yeah.
could own the city.
He
I'm
probably
pretty
buy a
sure
lot more. That's
486,000,
right.
he could buy the
That's
city.
right.
Oh, Gervonta, where did it all go so sideways in your career? Oh wait, when you hired
All right,
Floyd
you
to
guys.
come out,
It is my
it's your son's birthday, Andrew.
with that note, I
Mhm.
gotta go. I'm hearing it
Take us out,
already.
Miguel. Take us out.
All right.